So in my last video, I was stuttering a bit, stumbling on my words, but my arguments were sound. And I explained why that was. They were fuming me heavily, and they're doing it a little bit less now. So when we look at the word affair, affair, and we have to compare it to pharaoh, right? The A is the bully. The specific reason why it is over when I die has to do with reproduction and the natural order, the divine order, God's given order, and it is being interfered with by family bloodlines. These are military families, intelligence families, intelligence community related families, closed societies, secret societies, clandestine groups, gangs, mafia, organized crime, prison gang families, educational families, if you will, families of teachers. Weishaupt himself was said to be a professor. Eugenicist families, Rockefeller, Bill Gates, okay, it's stupid not to see it this way. Fraternities, right? Generational fraternity members, right? Sigma, Kappa, whatever they have, okay. Co-masonry, where we see women using sororities and different co-masonry groups, different factions of the Eastern Star, if you will, to split men, right? And to plan with the other eugenicist groups in terms of who gets to date who and why. Okay, things are a lot more controlled than people think, and I have been studying this thing probably about 23 years now, as somebody who hung out with gang members, as an independent researcher, as somebody who has dealt with mental health, talked to different groups of people, law enforcement, gang members themselves, obviously, someone who's done extensive research, over 10,000 valid sources, and I've been making videos since August 31st, 2009. Okay, so I have thousands of videos I've discussed with people in the comments. I've seen thousands of trolls, and there hasn't been a single viable argument to the contrary of anything. When it comes to anything that I've been talking about in terms of key points, right? There's a great conspiracy. No viable argument to the contrary. I have facts upon facts upon facts, 10,000 valid sources. I don't cite some random website that might give you a virus or something, or might cause you to be hacked, in various ways, just by visiting their site. Okay, I have been using Stanford, Cambridge, okay, Encyclopedia Britannica, valid source after valid source. Okay, recently the Indian Wars, battles, bloodshed, and the fight for freedom on the American frontier, Anton Trier. Well, let's read this. And in this, on page 19 to page 23, we have the Natchez, where they say that they are, the chief says he is the son of the sun. Okay, and they believe in various sun spirits. Well, De Soto replies by he, in fact, is the son of the sun. So we see that this argument is made by the Native Americans, and it is countered by the Spanish when they come to invade. Okay, De Soto. Hernando De Soto. On record, he used psychological warfare. Page 19. So this is mainstream history, facts upon facts upon facts upon facts upon facts. I trace the history of psychological warfare to the modern day. Okay, my contemporaries don't come near the amount of facts that I produce in my videos in terms of making videos on this subject. Facts upon facts upon facts. And the facts are very conclusive in terms of controlling reproduction. Scientific racism, social Darwinism, biodemographics, right? Biology and demographics, right? Neurobiology, neuroscience, neuroanthropology. All the sources line up. This is how it works. This is why. This is the history of it. It's stupid to think even for a moment that I'm mistaken about these key points. So we look in terms of symbolism. They used to believe that the Homo sapiens' mastery of symbolism was part of what caused the Neanderthals to go extinct, and then they started moving toward the idea that it was hunting methods alone. So we look at the symbolism on the flag. The white flag, it means peace, surrender specifically. So you have red, white, and blue. The red is for war in terms of racial ideas, racial supremacy, scientific racism, bloodlines of the ruling class, etc. War on behalf of the bloodlines of the ruling class and their extended network racially and racial network and otherwise. Okay, the white is for the surrender of people, the different Native American captives and so on. The Moon Temple, more often than not, the surrender of women specifically as the warriors die. So people in a Moon Temple, passive, lukewarm, kind of namby-pamby, bitch-made spirit, surrendering, submitting, and accepting being conquered by the bloodlines and their enforcers as well as their social controllers. Very straightforward. Red, white, and blue. The stars, the celebrities, the psychological construct, the media influence, a class I took in college. The influence of the media, social media, etc. College topic, thoroughly documented, thoroughly understood. Okay. And then we get the blue, right? It is a dark blue, which is the resulting atmosphere, the absence of the sun, the dominance of the forces of darkness, people with perspectives that are dark and evil and greedy and worldly. The bull that covers the light, the bull in terms of the vagina, the bull in terms of the earth itself, the moon, the bully, the bull, Baal, Bel. I've covered this thoroughly, okay? So then it goes on to the warrior understanding of the worth of life and death, right? Horus, the hero, the archetype of the warrior, the ideal man, Pharaoh, being replaced by the jackal scale, right? Anubis, okay? He's a jackal. He's the illegitimate son of Set's consort, Nephthys, and Osiris. Osiris tricked by Nephthys' psychology, alchemy, chemistry, sorcery. Of course, his perspective is worldly. There's no spiritual power in it. It's void of spiritual power. It is the idea of worldly forces forcing you to do it that way. Bullying you, being like a jackal, a wolf, you know, and there's an aspect of being a vulture, preying on the weak, and so on. So the white team is the Moon Temple sluts and the cowards who have whored themselves philosophically, spiritually, and otherwise to fall in line. Osiris is a powerless Lucifer. He is the Lord of the black, but he has no place in heaven. Okay, so covering that thoroughly, it goes back to affair versus Pharaoh. A player, play the game, make a play, versus martial arts, orders. Okay? It's almost like women volunteer to take on different weights, different levels of attractiveness to help with the illusion. It's very much like a movie, right? In some movie scenes, women are ugly because they're trying to create the illusion in that scene, right? They're playing, you know, this woman who became homeless in this movie, right? Or this woman who she got beat up, right? She's allowing herself to be presented publicly to millions of people as an unattractive person in that scene. And we see this reflected in society's psychological construct to some degree. Make no mistake, people are recruited, but some people accept being reduced. Some people accept playing gay. Some people accept being overweight. Some people accept, taken away from their attractiveness. This has to do with trophy wives, right? Trophy, first, second, third place, honorable mention, right? Bronze, silver, gold, trophy, right? Medals, mining, mind, body, soul, right? Okay, so it goes back to the wife and the escort, right? Escort. I've thoroughly covered how these women are whores. Okay, they're the evolution of the attractive prostitutes that bred with the criminal scum that usurped the warrior class in various societies and then went around the world to elevate the beta male as they conquered them. When you conquer a society, there are no alpha males left around. And this is very similar to how my dad got here, right? He came from an unconquered society, unconquered culture, right? His local village culture. The colonists were still in the process of conquering them. You don't see that in America. They're conquered to a high degree. We don't see that in Europe. We don't see that in China. These people are thoroughly conquered and indoctrinated and forced into various cultures that are compatible with the mainstream agenda of the governing class. Okay, so again, when my dad came here, it was during the Nigerian Civil War. The Igbos were in the process of being conquered. By the time the war ended, for all intents and purposes, they were a conquered people. And then he came here during the war, and he was put on the plane. He worked his way up without a penny. He wasn't quite conquered, and they were in the process of indoctrinating him and conquering him. And at some point, he gave birth to me, okay, in the 80s and so on. And then I grew up as an unconquered person, and now as the last unconquered person on the planet, the Sun Gate is going to close. Other people came here under under similar circumstances, perhaps from various nations, but they joined mainstream and controlled opposition movements as conquered individuals and peoples. There are no conquerors in this case. There are just dishonorable scum, right? When a criminal makes a lot of money and cheats everybody and does it in an underhanded and cowardly way, it is not the same as a great martial arts force conquering another cult naturally. There's no more conquerors because there's no more natural conquering. Conquering must be mind, body, and soul. There's just beta males controlling beta males. And some of them happen to be big and strong. But when it matters most, what thoroughly defines an alpha male, the core, the heart, the essence, they define themselves as beta. Okay, they just have muscle and so on and kill each other in a state of frustration and out of the divine order. You pretty much have to be in the alpha male divine order to be an alpha male. Okay, I go as far as to say that is the case. So we look at the privileged big three, right? The greatest example of denial in society is denying the martial arts order. All other forms are just consequences of denying that, right? White denial is what happens when you don't have a martial arts order, which allows for white people and other groups of people, the big three, white, Asian, Jews, and their allies, to take advantage of people, okay? And they slip into a state of public denial, which has a certain psychological impact on them, mental impact, and they deny everything. So I made this video a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I wanted to get right to the point, so I'm going to reiterate my point at the beginning. The reason why it is over has to do with family bloodlines, okay? It touches on race and certainly has everything to do with culture. But first and foremost, these are family bloodlines manipulating cultures to make themselves look good. And these are military bloodlines. It affects the martial art culture. All martial arts are disgraced. No one has my permission. No one has God's permission. No one has ancestors' permission. It's done in that terms. It's only disgrace. Okay? So it's military, intelligence community, closed society, gangs, mafia, organized crimes, prison gangs, education, eugenicist families, fraternities, co-masonry, police, and there's other groups as well that are involved in this thing. You know, there's different political groups and families that control them. There's different cultures and religious families, martial art families. Okay, these people have the first pick when it comes to women. When you're uncontrolled and serving God and not this bloodline kind of family structure, right? You know, the mafia family, right? The prison gangs referring to themselves as families and so on. It's very obvious this is how it works. The old money families. Families, okay? Bloodlines. Forget the Illuminati. It doesn't matter if they exist or not anymore. What does exist for sure is old money and generational families that control things, and they're more accurately described as generational Satanists, as they have aligned themselves to defy God and to reject the divine order. Okay, so never forget that reproduction is controlled. Women didn't stand with me, and I absolutely resent them for it. It's like they're empty vessels that needed me to fill them, okay? And they're empty vessels in rebellion. They are, and I'll end this with this scramble, right? It is a race, checkered flag, checkered floor, yin-yang. It's a race. It's a scramble for which demons are defined, right? Demonic selection. So scramble the word free love in terms of phonetics and otherwise. We get love backwards as evil and free scrambled as ref. Scramble with phonetics, sounds apply. Ref, evil. The ref is evil. Women are the ref. They decide whose seed to bring into this world. There's There's a wide variety of techniques they can use to keep from giving birth to a child. And they have decided to continue. The women we have left are in a permanent state of disgrace. So the women we have left and their offspring must be despised by God and Pharaoh and the martial artists and every virtuous man that ever lived forever now. Thank you.